Okay, we are live right now. Hello, how's everyone doing? Happy Friday today. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hey, Generals Alert. Okay. Hey, April, Potato, Visionary, Captain. Hey, guys. Hey, Ferris. I'm doing good. How's everyone? It's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Metin. Everyone wish Metin Hasek their happy birthday. What's wrong? Official conch? Oh, I hope you feel better, man. Getting better with free aim. I just shot my own horse there. Hey, Pro, we have bad news. My friend in Australia told me age verification is coming to online video games, including GTA Online, on Monday. Oh man, what? That's really stupid. I might do a crazy current events video on this. That's really stupid, Jake Hunter. That is. Hello, Mr. Professional. How am I feeling today? I'm doing good, Crazy Kevin. I'll probably do a crazy current events video on that. That's ridiculous. Do I have an interest in the Resident Evil games? Not all of them. I haven't been the biggest fan of the series. I'm good, Andrew. How are you, man? Yeah, I would be down for that, Shiny Knight. About to rank up here too. Day 7 of the war. Hope it ends soon. It's not gonna. I can't imagine it will end soon. I hope it does end soon, because this whole war is stupid. But it's I don't think it's gonna end anytime soon. It's not like the U.S. has told Iran unconditional surrender. They are not going to surrender. I don't know why the U.S. government thinks they're going to surrender. They're not going to. So it's this could last for months. I don't even believe the U.S. government when they say it's going to be for a month. This could last for months. Hey, Polyflame, how you doing, dude? had a kidney stone today. Oh, I hope you're okay, Shiny Knight. I hope you feel better. I'm doing good, Jeremy. How are you, man? Would I ever play through the Metro series? Yeah. One day. One day I would. I did play through Metro 2033 and Last Light, but I never played Exodus. Thank you, Zombie Enthusiast, for the super chat. Yeah, we can do a heist. We can do it this Sunday also, Polyflame. Hey, Mr. Tay, how you doing? The gas station, my country, Puerto Rico, has increased 4 or 5, or maybe 5 times the price here. Like, it went from 0.78 to 79 to 83, 84. Ah, man, it's... When am I starting Blood in the Sand? Right when I finish Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Por Dios, no.
What was the first game cosplay on your channel? Kind of Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 1 in 2020. What am I going to play after Kiwami 2? 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. Thank you, Axel Cordova, for the super chat. No, I haven't, Zach, but I have seen tons of clips of it. Like, I've seen so many clips of it. It's just, I get shorts recommended to me all the time from it. Hey, Jack, Hent Daizon, thank you for the super chat also. Later in this year, I'll do the Half-Life 1 expansion, General's Alert. I was excited for your stream all day today. Oh, that's cool, Andrew. Thank you. I appreciate it. That makes me feel good that there's a lot of people that are interested in my content and waiting for me to stream. We're gonna do the Scarface game again this year. We'll do it before GTA 6. Yeah, we will do a DLC month one day. Yeah, but I will cover the Mercenaries 3 when I play Mercenaries 2. There's a lot of games I gotta play before GTA 6 comes out. Coming up, any new lore ideas? The Zero lore video. I gotta still make that.
No, por favor, no.
Yeah, your streams make me feel better. Had a bad few weeks. Oh, well, is everything okay now, Zach? Would you be upset if GTA 6 got delayed to like 2027? Maybe I'd be a bit annoyed at that point because it delayed it so many times that I would begin to question what were they doing at Rockstar. Have I practiced Majima construction? No, I have not. Is Majima construction just as long as the Cabaret Club storyline, or is it longer? I think that I'm gonna when I play Majima construction, I think I'm really gonna suck at it. I think I am. Yeah, I have the PC version, but the PC version can be a nightmare to run, Gunner. I hope you get better, Zach. Okay, I'm gonna deliver this target now.
People will be real excited to see him go. Thanks. I believe you'll find that figure to your liking.
Do I think Ralph should blame himself for what happened to his son Justin in a TV show? I don't remember, where did they get the bow from? Where did they get it? I don't... that I don't remember in Sopranos, but... Oh, they hated him, Gunner. There's no notification that came out today? Hey, Javi, how you doing, man? Yay, 5 months. Also, what is your conclusion about Dutch Vanderland's personality? I love Benjamin's performance as Dutch. I made a lore video about Dutch some time ago, but, you know, several years ago, but I would say about him that he's a narcissist. I don't think I think he does believe in his ideals, but I think a lot of it is also nonsense. Like, I don't think he would actually sacrifice himself for others. I think that when things just stopped going his way, like, he just could not accept other people's arguments. He surrounded himself with yes men like Micah, and it just turned into a disaster. Isn't it the maid's fault Ralph was taking a bath? In a way, yeah. But, yeah, I don't remember where they got the bow from in The Sopranos. Oh, yeah, Ian from Forgotten Weapons. I've seen his videos before. I don't know the lore of Breaking Bad that well to do videos on it, but here's the thing is, I really don't like doing lore videos on TV shows. Like, I really don't like doing that. The reason I don't is because doing lore videos on any kind of TV shows is really complicated, because just barely showing any footage will get you a copyright claim and get the entire video claimed. Like, barely showing any footage, and it just makes it so frustrating to do any kind of content on that. If I can find this guy on my own here. Oh, what do we got here? This is a rare flower. Yeah, but it's just Polis have pretty much hated every single Tsar because they were occupiers. Also, I will tell you something. I'll tell you guys something. The Gunner, about this is a lot of these Russian Tsars, right? A lot of them, it's weird because, like, in Russia, they admire like a bunch of these Tsars, but also Soviet leaders like Stalin, which is just weird. But here's the thing about this is like, whenever Polish people have like brought up like the atrocities that the Russian Empire has committed against Poland or the Soviet Union has committed against Poland, you know, usually the Russian argument against that is either one of two things. Either, you know, they will deny it, they'll say that Poles had great lives under Russian occupation, or two, they will basically say, oh, you know, it wasn't Russia that did that, it was the Russian Empire or the Soviet Union. That's what they would always say. It's like, oh, you know, Russia didn't do that, it was the Soviet Union that did that. That's what their constant argument is. When it was like Russians were like the largest, you know, ethnic group in the Soviet Union, and Russians were primarily in the government in the Soviet Union. But like that's an argument I've heard people say several times. Where like, oh, you know, Russia wasn't responsible for these, you know, atrocities. It was the Soviet Union that did that. When it was literally, it was just this. Russia is literally the successor state of the Soviet Union. Damn, I can't find this guy here. Did I read your message? Have I played Starfield yet? No, I haven't. I know the game. It's made by Bethesda, but no, I haven't played it, no. I've seen a lot of Persians abroad protesting in support of bringing the Shah back to power. 90% of them can't even speak Persian. The only protesters I respect are the ones protesting in Iran. Well, yeah, you don't want to replace one dictator with another. I can completely understand that. Why can't people just live life without hurting each other, have free will, stop hurting each other, and live life that is short, and live life and stop being toxic and letting pride and ego get in their way? Here's what I will tell you about that visionary. Here's this, like, do you know, like, what 90% of the world's conflicts, probably even more than that, maybe even up to 100%. 100% of almost all wars in history could have literally been completely avoided if people just mind their own business. If people just mind their own business, literally like 90% of the conflicts in human history could have been avoided. But the problem is people don't know how to mind their own business, and somebody constantly wants to take something from somebody else. Somebody constantly wants to bully someone. Someone wants to, you know, harass someone else, steal from someone else. So it's not, that's unfortunately why, you know, stuff like that never changes. And I will say this. Do you know what is the most dangerous trait that somebody can have? You know, the most dangerous trait? Because here's what I will say. You know, I've been asked before if greed is the worst trait that somebody can have, and no, it's not. The reason that I would say the worst trait that I would say that somebody can possibly have is narcissism. Narcissism is literally the worst trait that someone can have. The reason that narcissism is even worse than greed is because, think about it this way. If somebody is a greedy person, right? It's not necessarily a good thing, but if somebody is a greedy person and they just lose a bunch of money, they just lose it because of a stupid decision that they made, they at least understand, you know, this stupid decision that I made cost me a bunch of money, and they're probably not going to repeat the same mistake again. However, though, a narcissist, on the other hand, will never admit when they've made a mistake. They think too highly of themselves. They basically think of themselves as gods. They never will admit that they've made a mistake. So that's why narcissists are way worse than greedy people, because at least a greedy person will at least admit when they've made a mistake, when they lose, you know, a bunch of money. But narcissists will never make a mistake. Even if narcissists completely went bankrupt, they would act like it was someone else's fault, like they're the victim. Damn, I cannot find this target. I just don't want to follow the tracks around. I'd rather just ride around and find the guy myself. Do I think I could take a GTA protagonist in a fight? No. Oh, thank you, Dyson, for the super chat. Thank you. Walter White is a perfect example of narcissism. Yeah, well, Walter White did not start out like that at first, but then he became very narcissistic over time, yes. hey, Long John. Worst trust someone can have is blind loyalty to society and doesn't question everything. People look at perspective but not retrospect. Well, yeah, like, blind loyalty is also a really bad trait that someone can have. If you look at history, narcissistic leaders always have a downfall. They always do. Any leader that shows narcissistic tendencies tends to always have a massive downfall. Well, Lance Vance 100% is a narcissist. Oh, you found him? Oh, well, no one here is defending the Iranian dictator, at least I hope not. You know, the Iranian dictator is a piece of crap. You know, he murdered thousands of protesters in the streets. But, the issue here is not, you know, the issue here is, you know, why do we have to be involved? That's the issue is, you know, why do we have to be involved in a conflict with another country? You know, because this is, you know, Iran is across the ocean from America. That's basically the argument here. Well, narcissism did screw over Johnny Sack, yes, 100%. Do I have investments in the stock market? A bit right now, yes. I'm a narcissist. No, you're not. And the reason you're not is because narcissists never admit that they're narcissists. Ironic that in Breaking Bad, Gus do the exact same mistakes Lalo did in Better Call Saul. Gus didn't expect Hector to have a bomb the same way Lalo didn't think Gus will defeat him. Yeah, well, he let his guard down. But also it was because he couldn't let revenge go. Hi, happy Friday, Pro. Hope all is well. It's good, X Winters. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, James, how are you doing? In my opinion, anyone waving the lion flag of Iran or the Islamic government flag is a traitor to the homeland. We need a complete new flag. Well, yeah, I would much rather prefer Iran be a republic. You know, I don't want one dictator to replace another dictator. But, you know, the thing is that the U.S. has put itself in an extremely difficult position because I'm telling you guys, this conflict is going to last for months. This is not going to be over within a month. When the U.S. government is saying this is going to be for a month, no, I don't believe that. I think this is going to go on for months. Because the Iranian government is not going to surrender. They're not going to. You know, there's unconditional surrender, and there's they're not going to surrender. Like, a regime is going to hold on to power as long as it can. What do you mean, Zach? Who do you have in a fight, Max Payne or Arthur Morgan? What do you mean, like, to back me up? Well, I'd say Max Payne, because Max Payne lives in the modern world and he's, you know, gone through so many crazy things. I have ammonia right now. Your streams, help out a lot. Well, I hope that you feel better, Havoc, Metro. Yeah, I could, James. I could do that. Well, look, here's what I will tell you. Do you know, what was the most successful, the most successful, removal of a dictator by the U.S. in history? That was, in 1989 with Operation Just Cause. What basically happened was, there was this Panamanian dictator by the name of Torrijos, and Torrijos, he wasn't necessarily a socialist, but he was like very friendly towards the poor. He gave a lot of poor farmers land, and so even though he was a dictator, a lot of people tolerated him, didn't necessarily hate him. Now, Torrijos wasn't also anti-US. You know, he pretty much anything that the US wanted, they got from Torrijos, but then Torrijos dies in a plane crash. What ends up happening is Manuel Noriega ends up taking power, you know, the guy you had in Black Ops 2. He was a real person. Noriega, the US tried to work with him at first. They sent him, like, the CIA, for example, paid him a lot of money. And Noriega was supposed to, you know, have CIA listening posts in Panama to spy in Nicaragua and also to spy on Cuba. But here's the thing about that. All of those listening posts, they were all exposed towards Cuba and Nicaragua. So Noriega basically sold them out. So that's how the Cubans and Nicaraguans knew everything that the Americans were doing, because Noriega sold them out. And whenever the Cubans and the Nicaraguans would give him any kind of information, he would just sell that back to the US. So he was basically playing both sides constantly. He didn't have any ideology. It was all about me, money. And what he did was, he had the Medellin cartel bring drugs into Panama from Colombia, and then they would give him a cut, and they would be able to move the drugs through Panama. And his drugs ended up flooding Florida, and Florida federal court, had declared him guilty of drug trafficking. Now, he got really mad about that, and he declared war on the U.S. And one of his soldiers from the Panamanian Defense Force ended up murdering an American soldier that was in Panama, because there was thousands of American soldiers that were on the Panama Canal, and America had bases inside Panama. At that point, when that soldier had been killed, the U.S. had enough and launched Operation Just Cause in December of 1989. The U.S. had pretty much overthrown him within a month, captured him, and what ended up happening is that the U.S. had given power back to the president of Panama, the guy who had actually won the elections originally, until Noriega took over. So they released him from prison, gave, you know, the country back to the Panamanians, and left within a month. Now, the reason that this operation was so successful is for a few reasons. Number one, Panama is not a very large country. Two, the United States already had bases in Panama, so it was very easy to launch an invasion from inside Panama. The U.S. was worried about the Panamanian government going into the jungles of southern Panama and fighting a guerrilla war against the U.S., but the reason that failed was because the 90% of the people in Panama hated a dictator. Like, almost no one liked Noriega. Nobody liked him. And so because of that, you know, the civilian population wasn't very hostile towards the U.S. There was minimal civilian casualties, and the dictator was overthrown. It was like the most successful, you know, overthrow of a dictator in American history. Now, the reason that this stuff is not going to work with Iran, it's not going to work, is because Iran is, you know, literally like 100 times bigger than Panama. It's a very mountainous country. It has 90 million people, 91 million people, versus Panama, which only has a few million people. And unlike in Panama, where 90% of the people hated a dictator, in Iran, it's like probably like 60 to 70% of the people hate the dictator. But even if you have like 30% of the population just hates the dictator, that's around 30 million people. 30 million people that would just 30 million people that like the dictator. So that alone, having the dictator having that many supporters, is a massive problem, and the government of Iran is not going to surrender. So this is like, I personally think it's a really stupid thing that the U.S. government did. Like, this should have never happened, but I think it's gonna, you know, I don't know how this whole thing is gonna end right now, but this will probably go on for months. Yeah, the United States played rock music to get Noriega out of the Vatican embassy. That was true. So, like, yeah, this, Do you think it's better to own land than a house? Well, if you own a house, you own land also, though, Lamar, because you own the land on the house. So even if you have a small backyard, you still own the land on the house. about to max out Hokkaido on Hitman. Any tips, any advice? Learn where the key cards are, because those key card doors are really annoying in Hokkaido. They're the worst, trying to get through that in the security. Yeah, I know about that, Ferris. There's several, like, you know, dictators that are going to try to take power. Thank you. I hope you get 5 million subscribers soon. Thank you, Jeremy. I heard that when you own a house, you still got to pay property taxes. Yeah, you do. You pay property taxes even if you don't have a house on it. You just pay it on the land, too. Oh, well, that's a very long conversation, Zach, but, chances are, when Earth colonizes other planets in the future, it's probably going to eventually lead to wars, and those colonies are going to break off from Earth and form their own countries on, like, Mars, if it gets terraformed in the future. Because history has shown us that, you know, people want self-determination, they want independence, and, you know, if you have, like, a colony built on Mars, right? After, like, 3 generations, people that are going to be born on Mars, they're never going to step foot on Earth. They're going to be loyal towards Mars. And they're going to not want to take orders from Earth. And they think they will want their own country. And that's what will basically happen. Are there any states that don't charge property taxes? No, that doesn't exist. Every state charges some form of property tax. The only... here's the thing is, there is technically one way not to pay property taxes, but it's only in one state. And I don't know if you want to live there. But basically, in Alaska... In Alaska, there are Alaska is a bit weird that they don't have counties. They instead have boroughs, kind of similar to New York. So they run their thing on boroughs. And in Alaska, there are several areas in Alaska that are not part of a borough. They're not. But the areas where these places are extremely remote, like very, very remote. And so because of that, if somebody technically were to build a house there, you technically don't know property taxes because there's no local government. If there's no local government in those areas, you don't have to pay property taxes. So that's why, have you ever noticed how those rich people in Alaska, like in southern Alaska, they own like islands in Alaska, and on those islands they have like a really big mansion built. Like there are rich people that have like these big palaces in Alaska, like these islands, these own private islands. They pay almost no property tax, none, because those islands, even though they're part of Alaska, there is no local government there, and so because of that, there's no property taxes in the area. So that is that is one place where like there is no property taxes. Is like certain parts of Alaska. Hey Pro, good evening, man. How's everything? It's going good, Daniel Rodriguez. How are you doing, dude? What states have I been to? South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, what is it? New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, what else is there? North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Crap, there's more. There's more. Delaware. Crap. What else have I been? Massachusetts, Connecticut. Been to a lot of states. California, Nevada. I landed in Colorado once, if that counts. So Colorado, maybe, if you count the airport. No, I've never been to Tennessee. Oh, Michigan, yeah, I've been in Michigan. Arizona also, technically, yeah. These states that I visited, guys, I don't really stay in them. I've driven through them. That's just pretty much it. So it's not like all these states I listed, I've been to these states. You know, I've gotten gas in them, I've driven through them, but I haven't stopped in them. Or I haven't stayed in them, I should say. My moonshine is ready. Okay, we can sell that. I've been to Florida. I haven't been to Utah. Are we closer to a new Mafia game? Technically, you know, but it's gonna still be another year or two. Probably even more than that. Thank you, Daniel Rodriguez. No, I never heard of that one, Gunner. Let me join your posse, General. Yes, I know the dictator of Iran's dead. Hey, bro, happy Friday, and if you watch any Western movies, what's my favorite? And may I join your lobby? Yeah, you can join my lobby, King Will, but I'd have to invite you, because we're in a private session. What do I have you added? In a way, but, you know, one thing that pisses me off about Blue Bloods, Zach, is how they constantly touch evidence with their hands. Oh, have fun on your trip tomorrow, April. General, can you fast travel me inside the Moonshine Shack, please? What are your thoughts on Sharia law? I do not support any kind of religious law. I think it's ridiculous to have any kind of religious law because not everybody believes in the religion. Can't fill your own gas in New Jersey? Yeah, that is true. Oh, that's because of food shortages, Arcade. There was massive food shortages. The Soviets, was that also during the Olympics? Let me see here. Let me see. When, I think that was during the Olympics. Yes, the Soviets hosted the Olympics in 1980. So about that, the Soviet Union actually stole a lot of food from Poland. So a lot of food from Poland was actually taken and brought to the Soviet Union during the Olympics. And it actually caused food shortages in months later in Poland. And that was that's what a lot of those riots were in Poland in 1981. Are you on Red Dead right now? King Will. What history-based movies would I like made? Like a movie based on a historical event? I would like to see a historical movie on Simo Häyhä, like the world's greatest sniper. You'd think the world's greatest sniper would have had a movie by now, but he doesn't. What about YULQC pissed you off? Pat Languages? Are you talking about that law in Quebec, Bork? Thank you for the super chat. YUL is the airport code from Montreal. Okay. Why didn't Stalin save his son during World War II? Thank you for the super chat, Jesus. For a variety of reasons. The first reason is Stalin never really cared about his son. You know, him and his son had, issues. Stalin was very abusive towards his son. He never really liked... So Stalin loved his daughter deeply. So his daughter, he loved her much more than his son. The other thing about Stalin's son is that the Germans wanted to trade Paulus for Stalin, and Paulus was the German general captured after Stalingrad, and Stalin said, you know, why would I trade a lieutenant for a general, which the lieutenant was his son, and also Stalin did not want to be seen as weak. He didn't want to be seen, oh, I'm favoring my son over the rest of the rest of the Red Army. But I will say Stalin's son has a pretty disturbing death, because when the Germans captured his son, they tried to make him do propaganda for Nazi Germany against the Soviet Union, but he refused, and they sent him to a concentration camp. Inside the concentration camp, he actually committed suicide. He ran into an electric fence and killed himself. That was what happened to Stalin's son. And Stalin didn't even care when his son died. He showed no sadness over that. So that was, you know, Stalin really abused that guy. Wait, what are you talking about, Bork? What escape room incident? Hang on. Hey, Brad, how are you doing? Have you checked the video I sent you on PSN? I'm sorry, Brandon. No, I haven't yet. I've been busy with so many things. I'll take a look at it today after the stream. How long do you think the war against Iran will last? Months. This is gonna go on for months. Damien reacted to the 500 rand video, Richard WOR. Wait, what, Bork? I'm sorry. Stalin did care about his sons. Not from what I've seen. Well, at least that's the son that died. He didn't care about him. Possibly, Ferris. The age verification thing is stupid. I think I'll do a video on that. What did I hate about Tony Soprano and Christopher Moltisanti? What I hated about Tony was how much of a hypocrite he was. What I hated about Christopher probably the most is how abusive he was towards Adriana. Well, that was on Wings of Redemption stream, right, Bork? Do we always have to get a super chat for you to read comments? Also, will I ever be doing Tekken 8 or Resident Evil 9 playthrough? You don't have to super chat for me to read your comments. Resident Evil 9, I'm more likely to do a playthrough of. The fighting games, I've never been into them, really. In Crimson Skies, the Midwestern states formed a communist nation called the People's Collective, and they practice Christianity and despise the USSR because the Soviets are atheists. Well, I gotta check out this game. Is this game on Steam? Wings' career is basically over. Why is that? Thank you, Aaron Hughes. How do you feel about Viola from Saints Row 3 and why? Well, I hated how she barely came back in Saints Row 4. I hated that. You know, I don't know why they just... Yeah, I hated that, that they barely brought her back in Saints Row 4. I didn't like that. She was an interesting character, how she switched sides. Hey, Pro, how are you doing? It's rough here in Carcer City. Well, I can imagine. Carcer City is the roughest city probably in America, in the GTA world. Thank you, Fresh Hasty. Thank you, Cube. First step to communist utopia in order to fund it. We must commit crime, robbery, protection racket, and kidnap for money. Well, that is what the Soviets did. That is the, Stalin was actually a bank robber before he, you know, became a politician. But yes, that is true. Stalin was a bank robber. Thank you, Cube, for the super chat. I haven't seen you in some time. How have you been? Yes, it will, Vanny. Chesh, hello, Intervention. How are you, dude? I'll do a video on the age verification. Yeah, and like, so this age verification thing in Australia, right, guys? Is like the government, is the government forcing like these companies to collect the information, or does the government collect this information? Yes, I did hear about that there was a cartel lab that was raided in Poland. That is true, Gunner. What are your thoughts on the Iran war? I don't support this. I'm just so sick of getting involved in other countries' affairs. I cannot stand the Iranian dictatorship. I'm glad that the dictator is dead, but the way that I personally see it is I see it as like, why is this our issue? Like, you know, we in the United States are across the ocean. You know, why? That's the way I see it personally. Is I don't see why we have to get involved in these stupid conflicts. Okay, wait, what are we doing right now, General? Do you know I'm moving rooms in my house with my dad? He's going to move downstairs, and I'm going to be going to the back old room. Do you like the new room, Brandon? Thank you for the super chat. Spawn to my camp. Okay, I could probably actually just ride there, or maybe I'll just take the. Greetings from Liberty City. Can I offer you a bomb suit and spam Desert Eagles? you're making fun of Max Payne 3. I was on a ghost ship in a ghost canal. The whole thing creeped me the hell out. You're Max Payne 3. That's Max Payne 3 Ghost Studio Comics. Thank you for the super chat. Do I think Ceausescu? Do I think Ceausescu was bad? Yes. The dictator of Romania, definitely, 100%. He was very corrupt. He built himself a giant palace. His wife had so many pairs of shoes. He had a secret police. He would constantly imprison and arrest his people. Yes, he was a terrible guy. I can't watch the full movie of Downfall. Germany last days of the war due to age verification. Guess history is too much for them. That's I think probably everybody should see that movie. Downfall is a really good history movie, and it's about Nazi Germany's last few days before it completely collapses. But the AI age verification is really stupid. Yes, I did hear about that, Operation Gunner. The multiplayer, you're going to get pissed when you play the multiplayer. The multiplayer has a lot of issues. I will make a crazy current events on the age verification. Yeah, Korean War was kind of really skipped over really quickly when I was in school too. Yes, I like my old room, but the only thing I will miss downstairs bedroom is a private bathroom. Oh, okay, Brandon. I mean, at least the room is better. Well, a lot of those Hitler Rants parodies started from Downfall. The Korean War is 1950-1953. NKVD gunner, probably. Well, I never liked the idea of, like, people deciding who has more value than others, Visionary. You know, who decides that? Mad Max game? No, I've never played it. I know the game, but I've never played it. What you said about the Soviets stealing food from Poland, which displays failures of communism since they cannot provide food on their own, so they need to steal from other countries. Yep. Communism has never worked. It's always been a disaster. Why didn't the Fallschirmjäger soldiers most of the time didn't parachute from planes and how they fight in battles? Why didn't the Fallschirmjägers what most of the time? Well, the Fallschirmjägers parachuted from their Nazi paratroopers. They jumped from planes early on in the war, and especially like they invaded Crete. Like the island of Crete was taken over by Nazi paratroopers primarily, but like during the Normandy landings in 1944, there's a lot of Fallschirmjägers, but they didn't go back in the air. Once they paratrooped, they stayed down. Thank you, Fresh Hasty. Are Max Payne games done? Yeah. They're never going to make another one. I can't imagine them. The only way I could see them doing another Max Payne game, maybe you play as like Raul Passos or something like that, like a spin-off. But it wouldn't be with Max Payne. Can you make a wild guess when Red Dead Redemption 3 will be released? With all the inevitable GTA 6 updates and expansions coming out. Red Dead Redemption 3, when it will be released? Probably early 2030s. Yeah, probably early 2030s. You know, the thing is just get this. Red Dead Redemption 1 came out in 2010, right? And then Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018. So that was 8 years. Now it's been 8 years since Red Dead Redemption 2. So yeah, it's been 8 years since Red Dead Redemption 2, or close to 8 years. It's been more like 7.5 years, but yeah. Thank you, Future Abe, for the super chat. Well, Max Payne 1 and 2 is getting remastered, that we know, but they're not making any new games. That's what I was trying to get at. Well, yeah, it's also Pluto TV. That's how, the TV, you don't charge anything for it because of the ads on it. What's your PSN Grove Street for life? Do I think it's on par with The Sopranos? I don't know. Sopranos has, like, some pretty darker moments to it. I mean, I know there's darker moments to it also, but I don't know. I gotta watch more of it. Yes, Battle of the Bulge is the hardest chapter in European Assault. We'll be doing a playthrough of European Assault later this year also. Or actually, later this month, I should say. If intelligent animals have more value than unintelligent animals, dolphins, non-human persons, should IQ dictate human worthiness, and why not? Well, I don't think that people should be, just blindly killing animals regardless if the animals are intelligent or not. I'm not a vegetarian by any means, so I'm perfectly fine with eating meat, but I'm just saying is that, we have rules and we have limits on, you know, what animals can be killed, how many. Also, you know, there's, for example, there's hunting rules. Thank you, official Conch. Thank you, Ross. You have a good night too. Yes, Battle of the Bulge is in Call of Duty World War II also, yes. Dead Rising 2, I'll probably play, somewhere around May, I'll probably play that. Is it canon that Punchinello won the Mob War in Max Payne 3? Pretty much. Did you see me on 76 with you and also Rent? I saw you on 76, Brandon, but I just got off right after that. I was just gonna stream Red Dead. What is the worst World War II film that you've seen based on accuracy? Grove Street, I will add you later today. The worst World War II movie that I've seen. I have to think about that one. Maybe Company of Heroes had a lot of really inaccurate stuff. Like, there's a lot of really historically inaccurate stuff was in Company of Heroes. Well, the Normandy landings happen at once, where the island hopping was on several different battles, Mason. Maybe that Stalin propaganda movie? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, you're right on that. Yeah. Yeah, that is probably the worst World War II movie ever made. Let me look up the name of that movie, because I don't even know the name of that movie. Hang on. The Fall of Berlin. That's the name of the movie, was The Fall of Berlin. So yeah, the Fall of Berlin was probably the most one of the most historically inaccurate films. About the Fall of Berlin, there's a scene in the movie when Stalin lands a plane and arrives in Berlin, and then all the Soviet soldiers are just running up to him and just so excited to see him and a bunch of this other stuff. Stalin was not in Berlin. Stalin did not arrive in Berlin. That scene is all BS. There was actually a Soviet soldier that actually complained about that movie and said that I was in Berlin, Stalin was not there, and he was arrested and sent to a gulag for that. Even though, you know, this guy was a World War II hero. So that's, you know, that's what I'll say about it, is that probably Fall of Berlin is probably the most historically inaccurate World War II film. That's Soviet propaganda completely. Oh yeah, Battle of the Bulge was a pretty, you know, pretty dumb World War II movie also. Battle of the Bulge, it was the Germans who were driving around in M48 American tanks, which made no sense. And on top of that, like, the environment was like very hilly when it wasn't like that. It was, you know, it was forests, it was very snowy. So yeah, Battle of the Bulge 1965 was also, I know, yeah, that one was pretty bad too. Did I major in history? No. I just like to read history. aiming. Okay. March 24th, Ferris. What about the most disgusting graphic World War II film? Oh, that one is easy. Probably the most disturbing World War II movie that or the most graphic World War II movie that I've ever seen. The three most brutal World War II movies that I can probably think of is number one is probably City of Life and Death. City of Life and Death is a movie about Imperial Japan's invasion of China in 1937, and specifically the Nanking Massacre. In that movie, there's some really disturbing scenes. Like, when you see some of the things the Japanese did to Chinese civilians, there's some really, really brutal, disturbing things in that movie. Another movie World War II movie that's very brutal is Come and See. Come and See is a Soviet, World War II movie. It was made in the 1980s, but even though it's a Soviet, World War II movie, it was actually pretty good. There wasn't really that much propaganda in the movie, and it basically just shows what, civilians were like in, Nazi-occupied areas, how the Nazis were just massacring villages, the brutality of the Eastern Front. That movie was pretty good. It was very brutal. There was also, there's also the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which The Boy in the Striped Pajamas has no combat in it. There's no battle scenes in it. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is basically about the Holocaust, and the main character is the son of a Nazi camp commander, and when he basically starts figuring out basically what his dad is doing, that movie is pretty disturbing, and it has probably the most horrifying ending I've ever seen of any World War II movie. Like, out of like that ending to that movie is just so disturbing. It is like one of the most horrifying film endings I've ever seen. Like, that ending just came out of nowhere. One of the most really disturbing, like, movie endings I've ever seen. That movie was just, what haunted me. I've never, one of the most really disturbing film endings I've ever seen. It's a great movie, but the ending is just so disturbing. It is really dark. That's basically what I'll say about that. And there's also Volyn. Volyn is another, World War II movie. It's a Polish movie, and Volyn basically sees, it shows about, how Ukrainian ultranationalists in 1943, UPA, that was the name of the faction, the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, how they were basically just mass murdering Polish people. So, like, they killed 250,000 Polish people. Like, the Ukrainian nationalists, they would go into, like, Polish villages, and they would just murder everyone. And they used axes a lot of times, just cutting off kids' heads. There was one scene where it was based on a real event where there was a Polish resistance fighter, and he tried to meet up with the Ukrainians, hoping that they could work together. But what the Ukrainians did is that they actually tied him to a tree and to a horse and had him ripped in half. That's how they killed him. So that was that movie was also extremely great. General, I'll come back here. General, can you invite me again here? Yes, 250,000 people. About 200 to 250,000 people died in the Volyn massacre. Yes. 250,000 people died. So between 200 to 250,000 people died in that massacre. But let me connect back here. Oh, hey, Ayaka, how are you? I don't know, but I can tell you about Dead Rising 1 is it was about the consumerism. It was about gluttony. That's what the whole story was about, basically. Stefan Bandera, yes, he was the ringleader of UPA. And the really disturbing thing about that is that the government of Ukraine today does not recognize the Volyn genocide as a genocide, when it clearly is a genocide. In Ukraine, there's actually statues dedicated to the guy who led that group that did all those massacres. There's statues to the guy all over the country, and this has really strained relations between Poland and Ukraine, where the Ukrainian government sees the guy as like a freedom fighter, but almost all Polish people, they know pretty much the horrific things that his group had done. Well, John Rabe was very disturbed by it. There's also a movie called John Rabe that talks about that specifically, too. Daylight Savings is this weekend, right? It is. Well, let me just accept this invite here. What do I like better, Godfather 1 or 2? Probably the first one. The first one, probably the best one. The second one was great too, but I think, yeah, the first one's probably the best one. You should do more commentary style videos. I really love your commentary, especially like your crazy event videos reacting to stories. Well, thank you, 5Caps Films. I'm gonna have a video this weekend talking about it's gonna be kind of a personal video talking about a few things. I don't want to really talk about what's gonna be in the video, but this weekend it'll be you'll know the video when you see it. It'll come up this weekend. And then on Monday I'll probably have a video talking about the age verification in Australia. What's the status war stories that I've heard from war vets? When I worked in retail, this old guy that was a World War II veteran, he told me about how he had dogfighted the Japanese, fought the Japanese in the air during World War II, and he said that the thing that scared him the most was not dying, but getting shot down and captured. He said that getting shot down and captured, that actually scared him much more than dying. That he said that he'd rather kill himself, shoot himself in the head, than get captured by the Japanese. He was so scared of getting captured by the Japanese. Yeah, I'm with you on there, Vanny. Daylight savings time should be abolished. Get rid of it. It should finally be gotten rid of. Like, get rid of it once and for all. There's no need for it anymore. Like, it is just so annoying. And it's like, every single time they always talk about it. Like, Congress always says, oh, we're going to put it to a vote. We're going to abolish it this year. Like, every year, they're like, oh, we're going to abolish it this year. And these stupid politicians, they can never get anything done. These useless, idiot politicians, they never can get anything done. Oh, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, and they don't do anything. Okay, form a new posse here. Oh, that one I didn't see, but that movie can be probably very disturbing then. If there's a movie, Vanny, a movie about Unit 731, yes, that movie can be very disturbing then. Gonna make a new posse. What are you doing now? Probably gonna do some bounty missions here. Pro, I am a communist in this modern day and age. You think that's bad? Yeah. Because communism has not worked anywhere on this planet and has just led to suffering and just destruction of entire countries. So I would, if I was you, I would probably rethink your entire ideology. Do you have any horror stories about fans meeting you in public? No. I have never had a negative interaction with somebody in public regarding my YouTube channel. It's never happened. I have had people recognize me before in real life, so I've had that happen, or people like, hey, are you the professional? Like, I had people, you know, say that, but there was never anything toxic. Like, nothing ever happened where I got cursed or threatened or any of that. That never happened. What even is daylight savings time? I don't even know. I think that daylight savings time was something to help the farmers. It was something for farming. That's what I think it was for like daylight specifically or something like that. But it's not necessary. I think it's stupid. So that's I don't even understand the whole concept of it. Haven't there been states that have abolished it? I know it's never been abolished on the federal level, but I think there's been some states that have gotten rid of it. But Pro, does hating billionaires make you a communist or a socialist? I don't like communists either. No, I wouldn't say disliking billionaires makes you a communist. No, or even a socialist. Like, you know, me personally, I don't have a very high view of, you know, most billionaires. So it's, and I'm far from anything like a socialist. I'm a very free market libertarian guy. So there's no, yeah, so, the thing is, here's the problem, is that this is what socialists don't understand, is that one of the biggest things that socialists do not understand whatsoever is that for socialists, the way that socialists see it is they see it that there is three classes. There is the working class, the middle class, and the rich. And the way I see it, there's four classes. There's the working class, the middle class, the rich, and then the super rich. And they're, the problem with socialists is they will equate a millionaire. Let's say that there is somebody that like runs their own business, like a mom and pop shop, right? And they're a millionaire. You know, maybe they're not like super rich, but maybe they have like a few $1 million in the bank. Like, you know, having $1 million in the bank makes you a millionaire. Even if it's just $1 million, it makes you a millionaire because you got $1 million. So they will equate that guy that has like $1 million in the bank that's running a mom and pop shop to a billionaire. They will basically think that it's the same thing. So they'll think rich is rich, and they will think it's the exact same thing when it's not really. And so I will tell you this: the millionaires, like those guys, they also create a lot of jobs and they help the economy. We're not talking the billionaires; we're talking necessarily the millionaires. And driving those guys. Here's the thing: is when taxes go up in a state, right? The billionaires usually stay in the states because they have so much money, and they already have a pretty big, you know, business there. But if it's like a millionaire and taxes go up, you know, regulations go up, they tend to leave, and that can be very devastating for a economy. As somebody from New York, I know this. I've seen this happen too. So I don't think that like equating like somebody that has like $1 million to somebody who has like $1 billion is the same thing. But I hate how socialists do that stuff. It is a bit it's very frustrating. 2,998,000 are both millionaires, but they live very different lives. But that's why I would say I wouldn't say classifying it millionaire and, you know, billionaire. I would say rich and then super rich. Because like somebody that's like a millionaire is paying usually like 30% of their money anyways. So if somebody's a millionaire, most of the time they're paying 30% of their income towards taxes. But socialists think that they're paying nothing when they're actually paying, you know, a third of their money towards the taxes. It's the billionaires that are barely, you know, paying anything on this. And, you know, and I will tell you something as what they tend to do. Here's the thing: is a lot of these billionaires, these really rich guys, they pay almost nothing, 0%, like no taxes. And the reason that they get away with this, the reason they pay almost nothing, like they don't even pay like 1%, like nothing. They will pay certain taxes, like property taxes, for example, on their properties. They have to pay that. They can't get around that, so they have to pay stuff like that. They pay, you know, other taxes like sales taxes when they buy stuff. They'll pay, you know, payroll taxes and stuff like that. But when it comes to the income tax, they pay nothing. And the reason that they pay nothing on the income tax is what these rich people do, these billionaires, these very, very rich people, they will basically put 99% of their money in the stock market. So like they will basically buy stocks, and usually it's in their own company. So it's usually stocks of their own company. So they'll buy like 99% put all their money into stocks. And historically the stock market tends to go up. And so they're making money at the same time too. So they'll buy like, you know, 99% of shares in their company, and the stock market's going to go up in value anytime, so that money is already being made. But at the same time is when the government comes to them for money, what they do is they instead borrow money. And because these guys are billionaires, they get a very low interest rate, very, very low, because they use the stocks as collateral. So they tell, you know, the bank, oh, you can have the stocks as collateral if you need the money, if I can't pay it back. And they get a very low interest rate. And with that very low interest rate, they're actually paying much less than they are with income taxes. And so that's how these rich people, they basically get around that, is that how the rich people pay no income tax is they argue to the government, I have no money, I'm poor. I know that might sound ridiculous, but that is actually their argument. They would say, oh, my money is in the stock market. That's not money, and I borrowed money, so I'm in debt right now. That's what they would say. I'm in debt. I don't have money. I'm negative. When in reality, we know they're not negative. So that is basically how they get around that. That's how they don't pay any of that stuff. That is basically the whole thing. But the issue with this is that no matter how much regulation you put in, no matter how much you try, you're not going to be ever to get them able to pay. They're never going to pay. No matter, people always say, oh, let's patch the loopholes, let's change it. It's never going to change, because the thing about these billionaires is these billionaires have like a team of lawyers on standby 24/7, and these lawyers, they know the tax code so well, like they can just pick every single little thing, and they will find all these loopholes and all this other stuff to basically get out of everything. So they, no matter how many regulations you try, you're never going to be able to get them to pay. I personally think the only solution is to abolish the income tax, because if the billionaires are paying absolutely nothing, then why should everybody else basically pay an income tax? If the billionaires are paying zero, then everybody else should pay zero too. I think that the only solution is to get rid of the income tax, abolish it for everyone. So that's basically what I think is probably the only solution to deal with that crisis. But yeah, I would agree with that it is stupid, what a lot of these billionaires are doing to it. It is not fair. And I'm typically a pretty free market guy, and I will concede that it isn't fair what they do. What do you think about oligarchs? Honestly, can't stand those Russian oligarchs living in the U.S. and the UK. Yeah, well, those Russian oligarchs have like massive power, and especially in the Russian government, they have power too. Can I read your comment? Hey, JBK, what's up? Let's see here. One thing that upsets me though, Zach, is that show got canceled, because like it would kind of upset me watching Blue Bloods knowing that it got canceled. It doesn't have a proper ending. That's one thing that I think would upset me. I passed the super chat. Let me see. How did your lazy supervisor get fired? He pissed you off. Okay, so okay, you're sad. Why? What's wrong, JBK? Okay, so, thank you, Crab, for the super chat. He's asking me about my lazy supervisor. This is gonna be a little bit of a story. Thank you, Kent, for the super chat also. Here's what I'll say. I had this supervisor that I worked with, right? And this is, many, many years ago. This guy was extremely lazy, like very, very, very lazy. What this guy would do is, every Saturday night, I would, work on the sales signs. That's what I would do, is I would work specifically on the sales signs. And what this supervisor would do every Saturday night is he would try to sabotage me. He would try to prevent me from doing my work. Like he would intentionally like create tasks that are not my responsibility, and he would give me orders to do stuff that is not me. And he was not only was he trying to get me to do his work, but he was also trying to sabotage me. So he was intentionally trying to sabotage me and prevent me from doing my work. Now you're probably wondering, why would he try to stop you from doing your work? The reason that he was trying to stop me from doing my work is because every single time it would hit 10 o'clock, he knew that I could never finish my work in time, because he gave me all these stupid tasks. And then when it would hit 10, he would say, oh, you didn't finish your work, Patrick, and now, you can't go home until everything's done. And so what he would do is he would then go back up to the office, and he would just sit there while I was doing the sales signs, and he would use that to milk overtime. That's basically what he would do. So he would get me to do his work, and then at the same time as he would just go back to the office and just sit there and do absolutely nothing. And whenever I would ask him for help, he would just say, oh, I'm doing some paperwork in the office, when in reality he was just on his phone. So and he did this so many times, and the manager told him, stop doing this, stop it, like, stop, constantly, like, milking overtime, stop doing this. It's like when it hits 10, it's time to leave. But he wouldn't listen, and he would keep doing it. Now, what ended up happening is the district manager tried to crack down on him. But here's the thing is, he sued the district manager for racism, like discrimination. Like, he took the district manager to court for discrimination. Like, he actually did that. And everybody at my job, we all knew it had nothing to do with discrimination. The guy was just a piece of crap. Like, he was just like, the district manager was right in going after him. He was lazy, he was incompetent, it had nothing to do with discrimination. But he brought that entire case up, and when that happened is basically, management was just completely off him. Like, they couldn't do anything about it while his case was pending. Now, here's the thing, at the same time is, I will say this, even though the district manager was right to go after him, I did not feel bad for the district manager getting sued for racism. And the reason I didn't feel bad for the district manager getting sued is because the district manager was a massive scumbag himself. So he was a massive piece of crap too. So the district manager was right that this guy was lazy and incompetent, but that district manager was a scumbag. Now, that district manager wasn't necessarily lazy, but he was a scumbag in a different way. What he would do is he would come into the store during inspections, and he would meet us on the sales floor, and he would tell us, you know, you guys are doing a great job. The store looks awesome. You guys are, you know, doing a great job. And then what he would do is he would leave, and then literally 1 hour later, management would get an email. And in that email, he would just send the most vulgar, disgusting message, like, you guys don't know what the F you're doing, the store looks like shit, you guys better get your shit together or you're getting effing fired. Like, he would say that. So literally, he would just come in the store, oh, it's looking great, guys, it's awesome, you guys are doing a great job. 1 hour later, the email comes in, and he would constantly do this. And every single time, he was always like, oh, it's, you know, the store's looking great. I knew the email was coming like in an hour. I just knew it was going to happen. So he did this multiple times, and he would blame us. He would blame us for low customers. So when there was low customers in the store, he would blame us for that, claiming that it was our bad customer service that was the reason for there being low customers. When in reality, the reason there was low customers was because the prices were too expensive, and there was a neighboring supermarket. A supermarket opened in the exact same plaza, and that supermarket had much cheaper goods. That's the reason that we lost a lot of customers. And then they knew customer service. People don't care if you have the best customer service on the planet if your goods are too expensive. So if your products are too expensive, they don't care if you have the best customer service on the planet. They're going to go to the other store, even if they have worse customer service, because they're paying less. So that's what it is. But it's like these corporate people, they don't seem to understand that. It's like, I don't understand how somebody can be a district manager and they cannot understand that it's the prices that cause the majority of customers to move over. Like, literally, they just think it's all on customer service. They think that customer service determines everything, when it's not. Customer service, sure, plays a role in customers, but the number one thing that plays a role is prices. When you beat other competitors' prices, that's how capitalism works. You know, you compete with two businesses. The business that has the best prices wins. That's how it works. So I didn't feel bad for that district manager getting sued by that, you know, lazy supervisor, because the district manager was an idiot himself. Now, what ends up happening is my manager knew that the lazy supervisor, that he was greedy too. Because he was constantly milking overtime. And so what my manager did is, and tell me if you guys think this was a good idea or a bad idea, what my manager did was he fixed the problem, technically, but not entirely. And what I mean by that is that my manager, what he did to get rid of the lazy supervisors, he did something very controversial. Some people might say it's a good idea, other people say it's bad. So let me know what you guys think, if this was a good idea or not. What he did was, there was a store in another town from the same company, and that store was offering a position as an assistant manager. This lazy supervisor was a supervisor, and that store was closer to his house. And he told the supervisor, oh, you know, this store over here is, you know, offering like a assistant manager role. Why don't you go apply there, and we'll help get you set up there? And he knew how greedy the supervisor was, that he'd take it because he'd get an increase in pay, and he took it. And now, once the supervisor took that position and got hired at the other store, the manager had no obligation to take him back. So he was pretty much gone. So he had to go to that other store. Now, he ended up getting the job at the other store, and he was out of our hair. We never had to deal with him again. However, though, within just a couple of weeks, the other store started complaining to us, and they started saying to us, you know, why did you send this guy over here? This guy was, you know, lazy, incompetent. He's not doing anything. He's milking overtime. He would do the exact same thing at that other store. And now he was an assistant manager, so he had even more power. So literally, what my manager did was he kind of fixed the problem. We didn't have to deal with it anymore, but he just moved the problem to somebody else. So that was it. So I was at least happy we didn't have to deal with him anymore, but I kind of felt bad for the other store at the same time too, because now they had to deal with his incompetence constantly. So it wasn't really a solution to the problem. It was more just moving the problem over. But like, do you guys think that was a good idea that he did, or do you think it was like bad because he just, you know, threw the problem on somebody else? But I can kind of understand why he did that, because we were just suffering so much from that supervisor and we didn't want to deal with the problem anymore. But at the same time, I do feel bad for the other store that they had to experience that now. What ended up happening is the supervisor did not last, or the assistant manager, he didn't last. He got fired within a couple months being on the other store, and so his discrimination lawsuit could not protect him anymore, because what he ended up doing is the office door, so the door that leads up to the office, it automatically locks. So when that door closes, it automatically locks. Now, he was so lazy that he did not even want to use the key to open up the door. That's how lazy he was. So what ended up happening is he went to the office and was just sitting on his phone and did not bring the drawers down. And the store opened. There was no cash registers in, and a line of customers built up. They called him up to bring down the drawers from the office because the safe was in the office. He was so lazy that he did not want to use the key to go back in the office, that what he did was he left the safe open when he brought the drawers down, and he put a cardboard box in front of the door to stop the door from completely closing. And so what ended up happening is another one of his coworkers at the time, they saw that, And the girl was apparently like, oh no, let me take a picture, like she was really on that really quickly, and she took a picture and she sent that to the manager, and it was shown on video camera of him putting the box in the thing, leaving, you know, a customer could have gone up there, the safe was open, and he got fired, and his discrimination lawsuit could not protect him anymore. But as far as I know, that guy got a job working for Coca-Cola. He got a job working as a delivery truck driver for Coca-Cola. But I cannot imagine the BS that Coca-Cola is going through with him, if he even lasted, because I can imagine how late he must be with his truck deliveries. Like, he probably just takes his sweet time just delivering those Coke shipments constantly. Just like this, imagine how long, like, a store's waiting for that Coca-Cola shipment, and he's probably just literally, like, just probably stuck in traffic, just sitting on his phone. He makes up excuses. Oh, it was traffic, it was, you know, congestion on the roads and stuff like that, and he just takes way too long to deliver everything. I can imagine he probably does that. So that's what it was. But yeah, that was a supervisor that I dealt with. It was a very unpleasant person, and it was not fun dealing with that guy. The most historically accurate World War II movie is probably Downfall. Downfall is very historically accurate. What ethnicity is this feller? You're talking about me? I am 50% Slavic and 50% Tatar. So my mom is Slavic, my dad is a Tatar, specifically Poles. So both of my parents are Poles, but my mom is a Polish Slav, and my dad is a Polish Tatar. So I guess I'm mixed. I guess I'm more Slavic. I guess I look more Slavic than Tatar. But some of my family members, they look very Tatar. They look very, like, you know, Central Asian like. Where I guess I have more Slavic features to me, but. Patrick, you look I look Irish? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I look Irish. I have an Irish name, but I'm not Irish. You know, my name is Patrick. I've always liked the name Patrick anyways. But it's yeah. No, I meant your colleagues. Oh, well, the supervisor, the lazy supervisor, he was Pakistani. My other colleagues, they were one of my colleagues, my coworkers, he was Italian American. That guy, I really did not like him. He was another, you know, bad coworker, but he was a bad coworker in a different way. The what was it? I'm trying to think of the nationalities of my other coworkers. They were one of my coworkers, she was from India. My boss, he was of Italian background. Trying to think anyone else. I had a few Hispanic coworkers. Polly, you should not feel ashamed. There are stupid people of every single race and every single ethnicity. You know, this lazy, incompetent supervisor that I had, he just happened to be Pakistani. But there is just, you know, really dumb people of every single, you know, race and ethnicity. So, you know, you should not feel ashamed of your background because of this one idiot. Okay, go to Cholo Springs here. What's up, Brandon? Why do I consider Dimitri eviler than Tenpenny? Because Dimitri is sadistic. He enjoys what he does. I don't see London's coming. Is London here? Is Polish your first language before English? No, English is really... I kind of spoke both because I spoke both English and Polish to my parents, but my English is way better than my Polish. You know, I'm born in this country. I'm an American, so it's, that's my standard language. Is psychopathy like a disorder? Kind of, yeah, it is. I mean, the thing about psychopathy, and this is the really scary thing about psychopathy, this is what's so terrifying about it. Psychopathy has no cure. There is no cure for it. There isn't. There's certain things that can be used to treat it, kind of, but there really is no cure for it. There isn't. It just doesn't exist. And the really terrifying thing about psychopathy is that people are born that way. People are born psychopaths. That's what's so scary about it. So it's not like somebody becomes a psychopath. People are born that way. So there's like, you know, you could have a child and your child could become a psychopath. But that's what's so terrifying about it. And so the thing is, sociopaths become sociopaths over time. It's not, nobody's really born a sociopath. People become sociopaths. But psychopath, on the other hand, it's a born condition. You're born that way. You cannot change it. No matter how much hard a psychopath tries, they can't change it. So like that's why psychopaths can come from really loving families. So like, have you ever noticed that how psychopaths can sometimes come from really loving families, but sociopaths they come from dysfunctional families? It's because the sociopath was created. They were, you know, abused as a child and stuff like that, but the psychopaths were born that way. So that's what's really terrifying. But I wouldn't panic about it too much. That, like, you know, if you ever have kids, I wouldn't panic about your children turning out to be psychopaths, because like the population of the psychopaths is like around 1% of the population is psychopaths. So it's like literally, it's like a 99% chance that your child won't be a psychopath when they're born. So I wouldn't, you know, panic about that too much. Dobry wieczór, Patrick. Oh, that means good afternoon in Polish, yeah. Brandon wants you to invite him to the lobby. Sure, I can do that. Do I like UFC? No, I never was into UFC. I just didn't like it. I didn't. I'm not even that much into boxing, but I've always preferred boxing more over UFC. The reason I like boxing is because boxing, it's like, you know, two guys standing trying to knock each other out. But like UFC, it's like, you know, I know it can be a bit more brutal at times. It's like rolling around and stuff like I don't like that as much. I like it when they're literally trying to go for each other's heads and they're trying to knock each other out. I've never been into UFC. I just prefer boxing much more. Please describe a difference between a psycho and a sociopath. Sociopaths, like, I'm trying to think of an example of a sociopath. Okay, the best example of that I can think of a sociopath is Niko Bellic in GTA 4. Niko Bellic is a sociopath. The best example that I can think of a psychopath is Dimitri in GTA 4. So literally is, and yes, I would say Niko is a sociopath. Niko has pretty sociopathic tendencies. Now, Niko does have friends, and this is what people don't know. Sociopaths, they can have friends. They can have people that they can have friends. They can have people that they care about, but there is this, they have such a disregard for other people and a disregard for other people's, you know, empathy. They don't really have very limited empathy for others. And Victor, which Victor? If you're talking about Vic Vance is not a sociopath. Niko is. But if you're talking about Victor Bronco is a psychopath, not a sociopath. I believe Niko is just hardened by war, but that's one of the things that creates sociopaths. Like, the condition that Niko was in was a sociopath. And the reason that I say that Niko is a sociopath is because look at the amount of times that Niko betrays people. Like, you know, look at, like, for example, Niko worked for Ray for so long, and then Pegorino just told Niko, go kill Ray, and then Niko's like, okay, I'll do it. And then Niko just killed Ray just like that. Now, I know Ray was a scumbag, but Ray never betrayed Niko. You know, he didn't. So I know Ray was not a good person, but, like, just, he, you know, Niko worked for him for so long, and then Pegorino just gave him the order and was like, you know, go kill Ray, and then Niko just did that. That's extremely sociopathic there. It's also like when Niko killed that that lawyer, and then the secretary ran in and she was like all upset, and then Niko's like, I apologize, or something like that. Like, very sociopathic too. Like Niko For example, like when he kills Derek or Francis, and then he goes to the same funeral of the person that he killed. Very sociopathic too. So I would say that Nico is probably the most sociopathic protagonist out of all the GTA games. Nico is probably the most sociopathic one. The most the only protagonist in the GTA series that's a psychopath is Claude. Claude is the only one that's a psychopath. Claude is the only one. Not even Trevor is a psychopath. Not even him. But Claude is, because Claude does not care about anybody. The easy, and I have a lot of people that a lot of times ask me, like, you know, is this character a psychopath or is this one a psychopath? Here's the thing: is there's a really easy way to tell if any character is a psychopath. You know how? Psychopaths don't have empathy for others. That's what a psychopath is. They don't care about anybody. They don't have empathy for others. They can't love anybody. So if you know a character in a video game, they don't love anybody. They don't care about anybody, even their own family, you know, stuff like that. They are a psychopath. So, like, think about it. Is there a character that, you know, if that character even likes one person, if they care about even one person, it doesn't matter how evil they are, they're not a psychopath. But if they don't care about anyone, there's no one they care about, they're a psychopath. That's the easiest way to tell. The worst thing is that they pretend to be a good person when confronted. Yes, that is what's scary about psychopaths, is that psychopaths can be very manipulative. And there's studies that show that psychopaths have higher IQs. So psychopaths are not stupid people. They can be very intelligent. They can even be geniuses. But psychopaths, their brains operate very differently. Very, very differently than others. A psychopath's brain, how it basically works, is they are only... Oh, is this the guy? It is the guy. I found him just at the last second. So look, how a psychopath's brain works, guys, is that they only think about themselves. That's it. That is literally how a psychopath's brain operates. They only think about themselves. They never think about anyone else. Nothing. And when they do think about others, they think about how they can use others. That's what they think about. They don't think about, you know, how can I help others, you know, my friends and stuff like that. They only think about themselves. How can I use others to get what I want? That is how their whole mind operates. General, do you have a horse reviver?
Christ.
Yeah, but the thing about this is the fact that he just willingly went along with it so much. Like, he didn't even argue with Pegorino. He didn't even try to tell Pegorino, you know, maybe this is a bad idea. He just went along with it. He just killed Ray like that. I have a moonshine ready for sale. Okay, I can help you in a moment, Brandon.
You gonna pay Rob?
Who are you, Liam? What's your PSN? Well, yeah, this game never got the heist. We should have gotten it. But Claude cared about Catalina? Not really, no. The thing about Claude is it's really hard to tell exactly what Claude was thinking, but about him, was it there really isn't proof that Catalina loved Claude either, but she was in a relationship with him. And it seemed like Claude enjoyed making Nico uncomfortable. It seemed like that. Like, he just enjoyed, like, you know, enjoyed making CJ uncomfortable. Sorry, not Nico. He enjoyed, like, when CJ was getting mad, it seemed like he enjoyed that. Doesn't your work environment have a law that ensures that your workers work properly? Where I come from, your supervisor would get fired and have a bad portfolio. Well, what country are you in by any chance, Ariel, if you mind me asking? But that supervisor had a lawsuit pending against the company. and so they didn't want to fire him during that, because that probably would have helped his lawsuit. I'll probably save it for a little bit later in April, Gunner.
No good, cocksucker.
Yeah, Terezi is probably the most powerful family. Oh, Todd is 100% a psychopath. In Breaking Bad, 100%. Yes, Todd is. There's no question in my mind. Not even Gus is a psychopath. No, not even Gus is. Todd is. Yeah, I would say Todd is. Not even Hector is a psychopath either. Hector isn't a psychopath, and Gus isn't, but Todd is. And also, for people wondering, why did Todd have this, why did Todd have this fascination with, Walter White? Even though psychopaths can't care anybody, why did he, have this fascination with Walter White? Excuse me. Here's the thing is, psychopaths process things differently. So, psychopaths can't care for anybody. Like, they don't care for anybody like a friend. It's not like that. But psychopaths can respect people. They can respect them and admire them. But usually, here's the thing is, when a psychopath is admiring somebody, usually the person that they're admiring is not a good person. Usually they're not. So they're usually not admiring a good person. And for Todd, the reason that he was so obsessed with Walter White is because he admired Walter White. He admired the fact that, like, Walter White has built up this huge criminal empire. That's what he liked about him. He saw Walter White as, like, a genius. He saw, like, oh, I want to be like this guy one day. That was basically why he admired Walter White so much and did whatever Walter White told him to do. It wasn't that he cared for Walter White as, like, a friend. It was more, he was, like, a twisted form of respect. That's what it was. Oh yeah, that there's one scene in Men Behind the Sun where the Japanese experiment on frostbite. A woman had both her arms frozen and she was ordered to thaw them in warm water and the flesh peeled off. It's bad. Oh my god. That is about that is those are real experiments that happened. It was the freezing experiment with Unit 731. The Japanese would freeze Chinese civilians to death, and they would see how much cold a person can take before they die. That wasn't a real thing that they did. It's really disturbing. Like when and the really horrible thing about Unit 731 is there's no survivors. No one survived from that unit. Like every single victim that was there was dead. There's no survivors from that. Can a psychopath be an ethical one? Kind of. Kind of in a way, too. If anybody has seen the anime Moriarty the Patriot, so in Moriarty the Patriot, it's an anime, but it's a pretty good one. The main character in the show is not Sherlock Holmes, but it's actually Moriarty, who is Sherlock Holmes' main enemy. Now, Moriarty in Moriarty the Patriot has very psychopathic tendencies. I don't know if you would say he's a psychopath completely, but he has pretty psychopathic tendencies. But even though he's kind of a psychopath, he only goes after primarily bad people. So he's not he's not. I wouldn't say he's a good person, but I wouldn't say he's evil either. So can a psychopath be an ethical person? Sure. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is that when psychopaths usually do a good thing, when they usually do a good thing, they didn't do a good thing because it's out of the kindness of their heart. They did a good thing because they're expecting a reward. That's what it is. So a psychopath is never going to go out of their way and do something nice for others because they feel like it. That's never going to happen. They're only going to, do stuff because they might get a reward from it. That's basically what it is. Why are psychopaths often smart? Because they plan so much. They're very good manipulators. They're constantly planning. Yeah, I know that, Josh. You get a different teammate in each part of the playthrough. Is Ogata from Golden Kamuy a psychopath? Great question. I know that character. I haven't seen the final season, so I cannot say that. But from what I've seen in Golden Kamuy, he very much has very sociopathic tendencies, and is he a psychopath? Kind of. The thing is he was a bit upset about his mother's death, so he was a bit upset over that. But it's like it's when it comes to Ogata in Golden Kamuy, he has like no emotion. It's like there's nothing to him. And the thing is, whenever Ogata does have emotions, he's usually faking it. He's manipulating people. He's pretending it. Like his real emotions are just blank. That's it. He has no emotions. You know, so you know, he even killed his own brother. You have to remember that. He killed his own brother, and the only reason that he killed his own brother is because he was angry that his own brother wasn't a killer like him, because he thought that the Ogata had this really twisted sense of view that that everybody is a killer like him, and if somebody does not want to be a killer like him, if somebody does not want to, you know, be brutal like him, they're basically a threat to him, because they threaten his entire worldview. Like he gets threatened by somebody that's like kindness. They're good-hearted people. He gets threatened by that. So that's what I'll say about that. That's why he killed his own brother, because when his own brother wanted his brother to kill that Russian prisoner of war, and he didn't, and his brother didn't want to. And then later in that same episode, he shot his brother in the back during battle. That was you know, that was it. He killed his brother because he was threatened by his own brother. He felt like, oh, my brother isn't going to be a killer like me, so, you know, he's got to go. That's how he saw it. And also, the thing about him is what was so fascinating about that character is it's perfect that they made a sniper a psychopath, because Ogata is a sniper, and so it's perfect that they made a sniper a psychopath, because a sniper is going to, like somebody like him that's just so cold. You know, you can imagine somebody like that. I'm doing good, 916. How are you, dude? Hey, Ty, how are you doing, man? Oh, yeah, Ace Attorney has a lot of those characters. There's a lot of psychopaths in Ace Attorney. Is there any Irish speakers in the US? I'm sure there's a few, but very little. I bet the CIA hires psychopaths. Well, they do. And here's one of the things is that a psychopath can lie on a lie detector test, like a polygraph. They can pass that. Why do psychopaths date? They don't date primarily because they love somebody. They date primarily for sex. That's the primary reason. Do you think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 2026 will be a terrible game? I hope not, because honestly, and look, some people are wishing this new Call of Duty game to fail this year. I'm not wishing for that at all. I want a good Call of Duty game. I do, a good one. And like, here's the thing is, there's a lot of rumors that DMZ 2 will be with Modern Warfare 4, and I played DMZ a lot. So DMZ last time was in Modern Warfare 2. It wasn't in Modern Warfare 3. And I really liked DMZ. I did. DMZ was my favorite Call of Duty mode of all time. Like, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a great mode. And so, I don't want this game to fail, because I really did like DMZ. I really did enjoy it. And if they're bringing it back in the new one, I will be in full support of that. But I want it to actually have a good storyline. Nothing stupid, nothing dumb. How did they beat the polygraph? Oh, simple. Because they have no emotions. Or no empathy, I should say. So here's the thing about this, is how polygraphs work is they measure your heart rate, and I think your blood pressure. I'm not a complete expert on it, but I know it measures your heart rate. And so here's the thing is if you are being asked like a question, for example, like, you know, on a polygraph, you're being asked a question, did you kill somebody? Like, did you kill this person? Like, you know, or an innocent person, they're gonna feel confident in themselves when they answer that question, because they're gonna know, I didn't kill anybody. I didn't. And so that's gonna show up on the polygraph that, you know, their blood pressure, heartbeat, whatever it is that the polygraph picks up isn't gonna be there. But if somebody killed somebody, even if they don't necessarily regret it, they're gonna think about that and be like, oh yeah, I did kill that person. That is gonna appear in the polygraph. So that is, it's not that the polygraph detects lies, it detects how you react to a question that you're asked. That's what it is. So, that's how polygraphs work. Now, the reason that a psychopath can pass a polygraph, even like a murderer and stuff like that, a psychopath is gonna think like, oh, you know, I don't have any regrets. Like, oh, you know, I didn't care. I don't care about this person being dead. Like, no empathy whatsoever. Nothing. No feelings. Nothing whatsoever. And so that's why they're much more likely to pass the polygraph, because they're just so stable in how they're thinking. They're not. They don't have empathy for any of the bad things they've done. Join King's posse shirt. When your heart rate goes fast, it's a lie, and it's normal, it's the truth. Yeah. If a psychopath can't care about somebody, could it be a defense mechanism? I mean, you have to be interested in someone or something or someone. No. Here's what you don't understand, Ariel, about this. Remember how I said it. Psychopaths are born psychopaths. And I guess I don't want the whole stream to be talking about psychopaths. It just sounds weird. But look, they are born psychopaths. That's how they're born. So if you show the brain of a psychopath, like people, you can actually tell if somebody's a psychopath looking at their brain. There are specific patterns in a psychopath's brain. Like a psychopath's brain does not look like an average person's brain. They have much more different patterns. Their brain is shaped a little bit differently. Now, the psychopaths are missing part of the prefrontal cortex, or their prefrontal cortex is not as developed as it is in other people. And that's the part of your brain, as far as I know, that controls empathy. It controls the ability of you to feel emotions for others. So you feel emotions for others based on that specifically. Psychopaths are born without that. So it's not that psychopaths, it's like a defense mechanism or something like that. It's that they can't feel emotion. They can't feel love towards somebody else. So like, you know, think about your mom and your dad. Chances are you love your mom and your dad. You know, you care about them deeply. A psychopath isn't going to have those feelings. They're not going to love their mom and their dad. It's not that they don't want to. It's not that they ignore it, they suppress it or something like that. It's that they can't. Even if a psychopath tries to love somebody, even if they try to care about somebody, they can't. They can't. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as that empathy. It just does not exist. So that's basically the whole backstory on that. Is it a disorder? Yeah, I mean, it is, pretty much. Oh, crap. General just got run over here. No, King Courtney is not the most evil character in the GTA series. What if the same brain function was, like, overdeveloped? If this, well, I'm sure there is a disorder for that when somebody has too much empathy. I'm sure that is a disorder as well. I don't know what that would be called. But I can imagine is somebody who has way too much empathy, like they have just an extreme amount of empathy, would be very destructive towards their self. Because they would be very naive. So, like, somebody that has extreme empathy, like, just so much of it, they would believe anything that people tell them. So, like, anything people would tell them, they would just believe it blindly. So, that I would say that if you're asking what the opposite of a psychopath is, that's probably what that would be. Is somebody who has extreme empathy and somebody who basically believes everything that they're told. I'll see, Visionary. if my cousin has autism and half the time I swear he doesn't show any empathy or emotion, does that make him a psychopath? No. No, you said half the time. A psychopath can't ever show empathy. So if he shows empathy at least once, he's not a psychopath. Vito is not a psychopath, not by any means, no. Vito cares about his sister, he cares about Joe, he cares about his mom. You know, he's not a psychopath, no. That psychopaths have no emotion, no empathy towards others. They can only feel empathy for themselves, or emotion for themselves. I think Teresi is a psychopath, yes. What's your question, Spreezo? Is Shang-Chi from Kane and Lynch 2 a psychopath? Yes. There's no proof he ever loved his daughter. So yes, I would say so. The amount of bad things that he does, yes, I would say so. Do I like Norse mythology? Like, you know, what Viking gods and stuff like that? I always like reading about a lot of ancient religions. I did also like reading about the Native American religions, too. What about Das Boot and Saving Private Ryan? They're World War II movies as well. I haven't seen Das Boot. I know it's a famous one, but I haven't seen that one. Saving Private Ryan is pretty historically accurate. They got the Normandy landings pretty well, pretty accurate on that Normandy landings. Yes, that was pretty accurate. Oh, Vito is materialistic. Yes, he's greedy. He's definitely cares about money constantly. Yes. Yes, Tom Hanks played in Saving Private Ryan. The biggest difference between Vito Corleone, Michael Corleone, and Tony Soprano, Vito Corleone is the least worst out of all of them. Out of the three, you know, Vito is probably the most moral one. He's not a good person, but he is he is definitely not an evil person. He's a pretty honorable person. Here's the thing about Vito is different than a lot of other mafia bosses, because a lot of other mafia bosses are parasites where they prey on the weak. But Vito is a different type of mafia boss where does he make money doing crimes? Sure. Does he do some bad things? Sure. But here's the thing about Vito. Vito is that type of guy that if he makes a promise to you, he's going to keep it, regardless if he gets anything out of it. So even if he gets nothing out of it, does not benefit at all whatsoever, he could just disregard your promise. He's not going to do that. So if Vito gives you his word that he's going to do something, he's going to keep that. He's never going to go back on his word. He never will. That's the type of person that Vito is. If he makes you a promise, he's going to keep that promise. So that's what I would say about Vito. Did I get shadow banned? No, I see you, Bori. What's up, dude? Tony Soprano is, you know, the thing about Tony Soprano is Tony Soprano isn't as cold as like Michael Corleone. Like Michael Corleone is much more colder than him, but Tony Soprano is I guess he's more reasonable, but he's also a massive hypocrite. If I was to describe Tony Soprano in any way, it would just be massive hypocrite. If I was to describe Michael Corleone in any way, it would just be cold. You know, cold. So that's what I would say. Vito, compassionate. Tony Soprano, hypocrite. Michael Corleone, cold. That's what I would describe the three of them as. I'm with the Griefer Hunters. Your last interaction with that Griefer in your private lobby, we gave him hell. We got your back, brother. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Chris Clark, for the super chat. But I just stay away from public lobbies. I don't. I try to stay away from it. I don't know why I get harassed a lot of times by people. I haven't done anything. I haven't done them any harm, but thank you for the super chat. What's your question, Zach? I haven't seen that one, General. I haven't seen that movie. How is psychopathy different from sociopathy? Psychopaths, no empathy for others. None. They don't have feelings for anyone. Sociopaths, a lot of people are fair game for them, but they have at least compassion for some people. So a sociopath is basically the easiest way to describe it, like a lesser, still a bad person, but a much lesser, bad person than a psychopath. Just like I told you, the examples I gave you before. Nico Bellic is a sociopath. Dimitri is a psychopath. Who would you rather be friends with? Would you rather be friends with Nico, or would you rather be friends with Dimitri? So that's probably the best example. Nico, sociopath. Dimitri, psychopath. Oh, Palpatine is 100% a psychopath, definitely. In Star Wars, 100%. There's no doubt about that. Definitely. Yeah, I would agree with you on that sociopaths aren't as manipulative as psychopaths and narcissists titan. You ever owned a CAR-15 assault rifle that MAC-V used in the Vietnam War? Wait, what, Mason? The CAR-15 assault rifle. Let me look this one up. Let me look up a picture of it, see if I recognize this one. I'm sorry, I know there's a few people that have been spamming. I'm sorry I've been seeing your comments before. The CAR-15? Oh, no, the Commando, you mean. That's it. No, I don't have that, that gun. No. I don't have that. I have an AR-15, which an AR-15 is a similar platform to that, but I don't have that one. Let me see, 10 and a... Am I on Twitch? No. Do I plan on playing it in VR game? I don't know, Mr. Lewis, because I get... Some VR games have made me really sick. Oh, somebody probably has a flush. Somebody probably has a flush here. One of these guys has a flush. I bet you... Yep. I bet you that guy's a flush. I'm pulling out here. Let's see if I'm right that one person has a flush. Yeah, I'm folding here. Oh, surprised no one has a flush, but... Well, good thing I didn't go, because I would have lost it either way. Long time ago, Zach. Well, yes, that is true that Ishii did. Ishii moved to the Korean War and biological weapons were used. I don't know of any biological weapons that were used in the Korean War. I'd have to look that up. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I've never heard about that. But it is true that it is true that Shiro Ishii was the lead scientist in Unit 731. It is true that he gave his research to the Americans in exchange for immunity after the war. That is true. Have a good stream, brother. Peace. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Makima is a psychopath? Who's Makima? Did you have to explain some of the Fallout lore to your mom when you guys watch Season 1? Yeah. My mom remembers Fallout, so she remembers like when Fallout 3 came out in like 2008, and she still remembers a bit of it, but she doesn't know the entire story. But my mom does have my mom does have pretty good instinct when she watches like a lot of shows, because when I watched Season 1 of Fallout with her, she's like, I don't trust this Vault-Tec company. She's like, this Vault-Tec company, they seem really sketchy, they seem really evil. So she wasn't even fully aware of like everything Vault-Tec had done in the series. She knew that people went into vaults, but she like she had good instinct that she knew from the start that was like they were bad people. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna win this hand. I know the U.S. only makes a few $1 billion from oil, but imagine the U.S. started making trillions of dollars from oil alone and kept taxes the same. What would you think about that? Would you, what would you do? Well, the United States has like a lot of oil, like for example Alaska, but one of the reasons the United States does not drill a lot of its oil is to not piss off some of its allies, like Saudi Arabia, for example. Like the Saudi Arabian lobby has a lot of power in the U.S., and like they don't want the U.S., for example, to drill its own oil. They're very against that. Also, if the U.S. started drilling oil in Alaska, it would really piss off Saudi Arabia, and it could start a trade war. And that's probably why the U.S. doesn't do it. GTA 6 will suck. No, dude. No. I did hear about that, Buck, and that's bad. That is, and this war is just so stupid. It is. I'm not in favor of this at all. I can't stand the dictatorship in Iran. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy the dictator's dead, but it was just, you know, I just always ask the question I always ask is like, why do we have to be the ones to deal with this stuff? Like literally, we're an ocean away from Iran. I'm not worried about like Iran attacking America because they're an ocean away. Like why do we always have to be the ones to deal with this stuff? I played poker. I won. I had 2 10s. Oh, that's 2 10s. That is a good hand to have, Brandon. What is? I hope he doesn't have a king. Pair of 10s. I have a pair of 10s too. But he had the ace too. Damn. Or no, the pair of 9s. I'm sorry. The pair of 9s. What am I saying? Can we focus on our economy here in America that's more important than Iran? Yes. I agree with you 100%, Mason. 100% I agree with you. But was that proven, Danny? It's coming from North Korea, too. You have to think about that. I lost second and third hands. One, I had a full house, and the 3 hand was bad ones. Oh. Okay, Brandon. You had a full house, but then the 3-handed was a bad... Okay. America needs to start staying out of other countries' affairs. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. It makes no sense for Clemenza to be a rat, Victor. That's why that was changed. I do look. I'm not one of those people that thinks that income tax can't be abolished. I do still have hope for it, being abolished one day. And I think it is possible to abolish income tax. I think it is. The U.S. government would need to be cut a lot, but I think it is doable. But honestly, that's what they should ask all these stupid politicians. That's what the media should ask them. Is like, you know, how is this helping the economy right now? Like this war that's going on. Take care, Pat. Rent. Yeah, Mr. Ditkovich and Spider-Man. Thank you, Brandon. She was, Adrian. Damn, not even one pair. What's your question, April? You can't play poker or that online. Was it banned in Vietnam? You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. No, you can't cheat in poker online in this. Michael is more like Tessio, and Sonny is more like Clemenza, so why would Tessio betray Michael? Well, Tessio just didn't think that Michael was going to win. It was like a survival instinct for him. Neither of them are slick. Neither of them are. They're both sociopaths. Why are both parties favoring the federal income tax? Because it's easier for them to stay in power. And the federal income tax keeps the government very large. That's what it is. It keeps the government powerful and keeps the government large. Well, Vanny, unless there's some kind of proven for it, there's no reason to believe it. Queen and an 8, okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think this is okay. No, I really haven't watched Jet Li movies. I'll see you, Polly. Take care, man. Oh, I just beat him. Oh, damn, he had a king and an 8. Oh, god damn. I could try to, No, I didn't, Vertical. I could try that. Did Clemenza get killed by the Rosado Bros? No. I think Clemenza died of just... I think he got sick and died. Any of the other callouts one day? What do you mean callouts, Red Menace? Rogue Trooper, I could try to get it in there one day. Damn, these cards are terrible. The United States Biological Weapons Program operated from 1942 to 1973. Following the surrender of Japan, the U.S. military conducted a cover-up of the Japanese biological warfare program. Well, the United States took the research from Imperial Japan, but I don't think there was any proof that they used it. They did take the research, that is true, but I don't think there's any proof they used anything for it. My favorite anime, Golden Kamuy. Isn't that blue soldier that you play as, Zach? Oh, yes, I still gotta do the other Fallout 3 DLCs. Oh, look at this hand. Wow. Look at this hand right now. This is good. And they're both clubs, too. Okay. I did play the Sherlock Holmes games. I did play a lot of them, Ariel. I just never, I never played them on the channel. But yeah, what's the benefit of folding? You don't lose your money by folding. We'll only lose the bet that you put in. It basically says I have a crappy hand. I don't want to keep playing. Okay, this will be my last hand here. This is a really good hand, this here. Let's see if I can win this. Everyone's putting in $1. Okay, this is going to get interesting. Here, okay, let's see. Please be a king or a queen in there, please. A king or a queen. Yes, there's a king already. Okay, this is good, this is good. Okay. I'm going to put an increase by $1 here. It's already going up here. Oh, interesting. He put a max bet. I'll do it too. Oh, here we go. Come on, do it. Put in max bet too. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, this is the max that you can bet, $30. It's all on this now. Here, pair of fives. Okay. Oh. Why would you go in with those cards? These cards are terrible. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna win unless the community cards are favor them. There we go. Look at that. We won. Oh yeah, look at that pot. I think that's the largest pot I've ever won in poker ever. That's there. Yeah, that's right there. Now I'm in the lead of everyone. Ho ho. Beautiful. Largest pot there. I think that's the largest pot I've ever won on Red Dead Online. That's the max that you can win. That is it. I'm gonna get out of here because if I'm gonna keep playing, I'm gonna lose the money. That is the largest pot that I have won ever in Red Dead Online poker. And poker's been in this game, what, 6 years? That's the largest pot that I've won. Okay. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up this stream here. Is there anything you guys want to ask me here before I go?
Well, I thought we'd lost you. All my food is towards the front of the shop, but if you go to the
Favorite Sopranos season? Probably the final one, because of the war that was going on.
Catalog on the counter too. I don't have room for everything on the shelves.
I showed Steph the short of Maduro in GTA. She laughed so hard. Oh, yeah.
Not sure how much longer the produce will keep in this heat. Grab them while you can.
Okay, I'll see you, General. Thanks for the stream, Pro. It helped me feel better. No problem, Zach. Okay. I did read your messages. Yeah, I could try to fit it in, Zach. I could try to do that. Have a good one. Thank you, Shadow. Yeah, well, you shouldn't believe it unless there's evidence, Vanny.
Come back when you're ready to buy. Sorry you didn't find what you were looking for.
I hope GTA 6 story mode is longer, yeah. Thank you for helping me on that moonshine. No problem, King Will.
Remember, I got this catalog that lists my full stock.
Hey, Fernando. Okay, guys, so I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for watching the stream. If you guys enjoyed the stream, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day, guys.